Each of us carries a unique value and inner strength that we often underestimate or forget amidst the chaos and expectations imposed by the world. We live surrounded by ideas that dictate how we should act, what we need to achieve, and even how we should feel. However, Stoicism teaches us that true appreciation starts within ourselves, in the recognition of our essence, without depending on the approval or judgment of others. By watching this video, you'll dive into inspiring reflections based on the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and the great Stoic masters, and you'll discover how to silence external distractions to truly find your inner worth. Imagine the sense of peace and confidence when you learn to look at yourself with honesty and respect, focusing on what truly matters. If you want to strengthen your self-esteem and reconnect with your purpose, you're in the right place. Like the video to help us spread this message to more people, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep receiving content that promotes self-knowledge and personal transformation. In the comments, leave the phrase, "My worth comes from within," to reinforce your commitment to this journey of inner appreciation. 1. The importance of self-knowledge and Stoicism. At some point in our lives, we all experience the feeling of being pressured by external expectations, whether it's the pressure from society, friends, family, or often from ourselves. But amidst these voices and judgments, how can we find out who we really are? How can we silence the noise around us and listen to what our essence is telling us? Stoicism offers us an answer, a path to developing self-knowledge and building a foundation of inner peace and strength. Imagine, for example, a man named Lucius. He lives in a busy city, works for a large company, and seems to have a perfect life in the eyes of others. However, every step of his journey has been guided by the pursuit of approval. The college he chose, the stable job he doesn't love, the superficial relationships he maintains just to avoid feeling alone. Lucius feels that his life is a series of compromises, that he is just a shadow of himself, someone who lives to meet others' expectations without ever questioning what he truly wants or believes. One day, while walking through the city streets, he sees an inscription on a marble statue. Inner peace begins the moment you decide not to allow another person to control your emotions. These words, spoken centuries ago by an ancient Stoic, Marcus Aurelius, deeply resonated with him. Lucius realized that he had always sought validation in the eyes of others, letting other people's opinions shape what he thought of himself. But what if instead he looked within? What if he could discover what truly mattered, starting from his own perspective? This moment of epiphany led Lucius to explore the teachings of Stoicism. He read about Epictetus, a former slave who found true freedom by realizing that his value didn't lie in external circumstances, but in how he chose to react to them. Lucius began to understand that Stoicism is a journey of self-knowledge and inner strength, a process of reconnecting with one's essence. How many times do we let ourselves be carried away by the expectations of others? He wondered. How many times do we look in the mirror and wish to see something different, without realizing that peace and strength are already within us, waiting to be discovered? Thus, Lucius began making small changes in his life. He started meditating in the morning, setting aside time for himself before facing the world. He used those minutes to reflect on what truly mattered and how he wanted to act towards himself and others. Each day, he got closer to the authentic version of who he was, and in doing so, he felt his self-confidence grow. The judgment of others, which once concerned him so much, began to lose its power. He understood that the only judgment that truly matters is the one he makes of himself. Lucius's story is a metaphor for all of us, who at some point also feel trapped in a cycle of seeking approval. Stoicism teaches us that true value comes from within, from a deep understanding of who we are, regardless of circumstances. When we cultivate this connection with our essence, we find an unshakable strength, an inner fortress that doesn't depend on what's around us. In practice, Stoicism invites us to reflect on what is within our control and what is not. We are only responsible for our choices, our emotions, and reactions. The opinion of others, what they think or say, is not within our control. 2. The practice of valuing what is yours. Often, we spend our lives chasing external validation, trying to fit into what others expect of us. How many times have we found ourselves admiring the achievements and qualities of others without looking with the same admiration at who we are? Our qualities and achievements are often buried under layers of expectations and comparisons. Instead of seeking external approval, the true secret lies in discovering, valuing, and nurturing what we already have within ourselves. Consider the story of a young man named Kaio. He was a dedicated professional and was always seeking recognition at work, within his family, and even among his friends. Whenever he achieved something, he quickly found himself chasing the next goal, the next compliment, the next approval. What he didn't realize was that this constant pursuit was taking something precious from him: peace of mind and the value of his own authenticity. Kaio never stopped to recognize what he had that was good, or even what he had already achieved. He was so focused on how others saw him that he hardly knew how to define who he truly was. And it was one night reading a passage by Marcus Aurelius that he had a profound revelation. In that passage, Marcus Aurelius spoke about the futility of striving to impress others, about how our true value does not depend on anyone else's opinion but our own. It was as if those words called him to a truth that had always been there, but that he hadn't allowed himself to see. Deep down, he knew he had qualities, skills, and values that deserved to be appreciated by him, but he never gave himself permission to feel proud of them. Over time, he began to reflect on his life with simple questions. What do I truly value? What defines me? What makes me feel that I am being true to who I am? This process of self-discovery was transformative. Kaio began to realize that he had special skills and unique qualities that made him valuable, regardless of others' opinions. He learned to value what was his own, what was authentic in him. And little by little, this helped him build a solid foundation of self-confidence that could not be shaken by criticism or external judgment. To follow this lesson, we need to start by looking inward. Perhaps this is one of the greatest challenges we face: distancing ourselves from society's expectations and pressures in order to connect with what truly belongs to us. Ask yourself, what do I really value about myself? It may seem like a simple question, but it is powerful, and often the answers that arise can be surprising, revealing traits and values that have always been present but were obscured by others' opinions. Marcus Aurelius teaches us that what truly matters is being honest with ourselves, seeking within us what defines us, what strengthens us, and what makes us unique. He believed that no one should pride themselves on being seen or noticed by others, but rather on being true to their own values and principles. Stoicism reminds us that what is truly ours, what is part of our being, is indestructible and unshakable because it does not depend on external approvals or recognition. When you begin to practice this reflection daily, you will notice a transformation. It's like cleaning a fogged up mirror, where little by little we begin to see our reflection more clearly. And this image is unique, full of value, not because it resembles others, but because it is authentic. Over time, the practice of valuing what is ours brings a sense of peace and fulfillment because we finally understand that our value is not in comparisons, but in who we truly are. Each small step in this direction helps free us from the need to impress. True peace and true value are in what is genuinely ours, and this is a treasure no one can take from us. When we begin to recognize and value this, we discover the freedom and strength that come from being unique. If you follow this practice, you will notice that others' opinions will lose their power over you. And in the end, you will experience a deep peace, knowing that you are living according to your true essence. 3. Liberation from appearances. We live in an era where appearances are overvalued, where external image often seems to hold more weight than our true essence. This cult of appearance has the power to drive us into a state of constant insecurity, trapping us in an endless pursuit of approval and validation from others. But Stoicism teaches us a powerful and liberating truth: what truly matters lies within us. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said that our value should not depend on external opinions, but on our integrity and our true essence. Imagine a young man who grew up being the pride of his family and community. He was always the perfect model of success, good grades, a talented athlete, admired by everyone around him. He invested a lot of time and energy into maintaining this image of perfection. His life seemed flawless to the outside world. However, he was so obsessed with meeting others' expectations that he began to forget who he truly was. Every choice he made, from his career to his friends, was influenced by external opinions. He lived in constant worry about what others would think, and any criticism affected him deeply, because he had built his identity around this armor of appearances. One day, during a stress crisis, he found a book by Epictetus that spoke about the importance of focusing on what truly matters, on what is under our control. One particular phrase changed his perspective. If you live for the opinions of others, you will be a prisoner forever. This reading was a turning point. He realized that the freedom he was seeking was not in being perfect in the eyes of others, but in knowing and accepting himself. Little by little, he began to question the choices he had made just to please others. He started disconnecting from the constant need for approval, and this brought an inner peace he had never experienced before. Liberation from appearances is exactly that, putting aside the armor we wear to impress others and reconnecting with who we truly are. It's having the courage to live according to our own values and not according to what is popular or expected. By doing this, you free yourself from one of the greatest emotional burdens we carry, the anxiety of meeting others' expectations. This Stoic practice challenges what is superficial, making us question whether we are acting to please ourselves or others. It's an invitation to look inward and recognize what truly defines us. Now, imagine what would happen if we all started practicing this kind of reflection daily. The world would be a place where fewer people would be trapped in the illusion of perfection, and there would be more room for authenticity. Every person who adopts this Stoic perspective begins to live more peacefully, without the weight of appearing to be something they are not. And the best part? When we free ourselves from appearances, we become truly authentic. And authenticity attracts the right people into our lives, those who value us for who we really are, not for the image we project. So reflect on what you truly value. What aspects of your life nourish your essence? Are you spending time and energy just to fit in or impress others? Liberation from appearances is a process, but it's one of the most important steps towards an authentic life. Epictetus reminds us that true freedom comes when we stop valuing the superficial and focus on developing our character. For the power of mastering your thoughts. In Stoicism, the ability to master one's thoughts is seen as one of the greatest powers we can develop. Our mind is the starting point of our life experience, and by controlling our thoughts, we can completely transform our reality. As Marcus Aurelius said, life is what our thoughts make it. In other words, reality depends not only on the events around us, but also on how we interpret them. To better understand this lesson, imagine the story of Dario, an ordinary man who was constantly haunted by thoughts of failure. He feared he wasn't enough for his family and compared himself to others, always feeling behind in the race of life. In a moment of despair, Dario came across an ancient text by Epictetus, which said, "It's not the events that disturb us, but the way we view them." He was intrigued. How could something as simple as changing the way we think make such a big difference? Dario decided to adopt a simple method, to observe his thoughts without clinging to them or judging himself for having them. Every time a negative thought arose, he viewed it as a passing visitor, a cloud in the sky of his mind. This allowed him to recognize when he was falling into patterns of negativity or self-sabotage, and instead of being overwhelmed by those thoughts, he saw them as opportunities to redirect his attention. Over time, he discovered that not every thought needs to be accepted as an absolute truth. By developing the practice of self-observation, he began to more consciously choose the thoughts he wanted to cultivate. Instead of nurturing limiting beliefs, Dario started to focus on thoughts of gratitude, resilience, and personal growth. This practice transformed him, and the same can happen for anyone. Imagine waking up every day with the certainty that you have the power to choose how to respond to challenges without being enslaved by the automatic emotions that arise. Instead of allowing worries and frustrations to drag you down, you can use those moments to remind yourself that you control your mind, not the other way around. This may seem like a distant skill, but the truth is that it can be cultivated with patience and dedication. Think of your mind as a garden. If you neglect the weeds, they spread. But if you begin to care for and choose what to plant, slowly it will become a more pleasant and harmonious place. By tending to your thoughts with care, you create a mental garden that generates more peace, focus, and positivity in your life. To begin this transformation, try a simple exercise. During the day, set aside a few minutes to observe your thoughts, especially in stressful moments. Instead of reacting immediately, take a deep breath and observe what's passing through your mind. Identify whether these thoughts help or harm, and consciously choose what you will nurture. This simple habit creates a new internal reality where you become the master of your mind. By mastering your own thoughts, you develop an inner strength that no one can take from you. It's a long-term practice, but every effort is worth it. By controlling your thoughts, you create a solid foundation of peace and self-confidence, which sustains a more balanced and fulfilling life. 5. Listening to the voice of reason. Let's talk about that voice we often ignore, the voice of reason. In the quiet of a calm mind, it calls to us. It's the voice that, if we allow it, can guide our decisions and our path. However, in a world filled with noise, obligations, and constant stimuli, many drown out this voice, giving space to fleeting impulses, external influences, and endless distractions. For Stoics, this voice is what defines our essence as human beings. Reason, or logos as they called it, is what separates us from all other forms of life. It is our ability to reflect, analyze, and understand what truly matters. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said that it's not what happens to us that affects us, but how we choose to respond. And this choice can only be made with clarity and wisdom when we listen to our inner voice, our reason. Imagine a man named Lucius. He is a young lawyer, always busy, living in a chaotic city. Between meetings, commitments, and social media, he felt constantly suffocated. It was as if the world never left him in peace, and every night he went to bed with a feeling that something was wrong, that he wasn't on the right path. But what was missing? He had a good job, recognition, stability. Why was there still this emptiness? One day, Lucius read a thought by Marcus Aurelius, the emperor and Stoic philosopher. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. That phrase resonated in his mind. That very night, he decided to do an experiment. He turned off his phone, stepped away from the computer, and sat in silence. At first, he felt uncomfortable, unsure of what to think. But slowly, he realized that amidst the daily chaos, he had lost touch with his own voice. Day by day, Lucius began to reserve a few minutes to listen to this voice, the voice of reason. He realized that, far from the opinions of others and the endless demands, he knew what he truly wanted: a job with more purpose, time for himself and for the people he loved. This daily moment of listening not only changed his perception of life, but transformed his decisions. He started saying no to unnecessary commitments, took better care of his health, and invested his time in what truly mattered. For Stoics, practicing listening to reason is essential to maintaining a balanced life. And how do we do this? The first step is simple: silence the world around us. It may seem small, but finding a few minutes of silence each day can profoundly change our perspective. This time, this pause, allows us to ask ourselves difficult questions, such as, am I living according to my values? Or does this bring me peace and fulfillment? It's a daily exercise of courage and humility. When we listen to our inner voice, we allow the innate wisdom within us to flourish. By practicing this daily, we learn to act with more calm, patience, and awareness. We become masters of our responses to the world, no longer puppets reacting by chance. Imagine the impact this could have on your life. Instead of letting frustrations or external pressures dictate your actions, you begin to act in alignment with what truly matters. Your responses to challenges become more measured, your decisions firmer, and your heart more at peace. 6. Find what is internal. Free yourself from the external. In a world where we are constantly shaped by others' opinions, it's easy to lose ourselves in external expectations. We want to be seen, recognized, praised. However, Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius teach us that our true value doesn't lie in what others think of us, but in what we find within ourselves. True strength and peace come from our essence, not from external validation. Imagine you're on a battlefield fighting against an invisible enemy. This enemy is external pressure, the expectations of others, society's opinions, the standards we impose on ourselves. Each time you win this battle, you feel a momentary satisfaction, but soon the pressure returns, stronger than before. This battle never ends because while we seek external recognition, we forget that true peace comes from connecting with who we truly are at the core of our being. This lesson was learned by a young warrior who, like many of us, spent his life seeking recognition and approval. From a young age, he was trained to be strong, to win battles, to be admired. His victories were celebrated, and he was constantly applauded. Yet, despite all his strength, something wasn't right. What he felt inside didn't align with what the world saw. He felt empty, as if his true identity was constantly overshadowed by the expectations of everyone around him. One day, while reflecting by a river, he met an old sage. The sage looked at the warrior and said, "You've won many battles, but the true battle is not against others. The greatest victory you can achieve is over your own mind. You define yourself by your external victories, but what happens when the fight ends? What do you find when the applause fades?" These words echoed in the warrior's mind. He realized that no matter how strong or respected he was, he didn't know who he truly was. His identity was built on the image others had of him, not on the essence within him. The sage then suggested he take some time away to reflect on his life and reconnect with himself. In an act of courage, the warrior withdrew from everyone and went to a remote mountain. There, far from external pressures and expectations, he began to look inward. That's when he discovered something powerful. What truly matters isn't the recognition or victories the world celebrates, but connecting with our true essence. He realized that his strength didn't come from his achievements, but from his ability to be true to himself and his inner truth. This lesson is also what Stoic philosophers like Epictetus teach us. What's within you is what truly matters, they say. True strength is not measured by what others think of you, but by what you think of yourself. When we free ourselves from external expectations, we find a peace and value that nothing in the world can take away from us. So if you're constantly seeking external validation, recognition for your actions or appearance, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, who am I, beyond others' expectations? What truly defines my value? When you can detach from what the world expects of you and look within, you'll realize that your true strength is there, inside of you. It's just a matter of connecting with it. This is the great lesson of Stoicism. Your true freedom comes from within. When you understand that you don't need the world's approval to feel complete, you'll be able to live a lighter life, more focused on what truly matters. Instead of being molded by others' opinions, you'll begin to live by your own principles and values. As the sage said to the warrior, true greatness isn't in defeating others, but in conquering yourself. The path to freedom begins when you stop seeking external validation and start seeking internal peace. Now think about this. What truly matters to you? What makes you feel truly valuable? Not by others' expectations, but by the person you are. This is the moment to free yourself from external pressure and rediscover your true essence. 7. Define your purpose and feed it with vigor. Having a clear purpose is one of the greatest keys to living with meaning. Without knowing what truly matters, we end up being carried by life's circumstances like leaves in the wind. Stoicism teaches us that the value lies in acting with intention, guiding our actions according to a deep purpose. This is the foundation of a purposeful life, rather than simply reacting to situations as they arise. Imagine a soldier lost in the chaos of battle. The noise of swords and the shouts around him leave him stunned. But then he remembers the words of his commander, "Fight for honor," and he focuses, no longer on fear, but on the greater purpose for which he is fighting. The battle stops being about survival and becomes about fulfilling his mission. The same happens with us. When we have a clear purpose, difficulties become easier to face. Distractions, social pressure, and external expectations lose their strength in the face of clarity about what truly matters. And by nourishing that purpose every day, our life gains more meaning. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, wrote that the value of our actions is not in their appearance or immediate results, but in their alignment with our purpose. True happiness doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on the virtue and integrity of our actions. For him, the purpose was to live according to reason, wisdom, and a profound sense of duty. By defining your purpose, you align yourself with something greater. Every choice, every decision becomes more than just a response to immediate events. It becomes part of a larger path, an ongoing effort to live in line with your deepest values. Feeding your purpose requires discipline. It's not a passing resolution, but a constant practice. Just as a gardener cares for a plant, you must water and nurture your purpose so that it grows strong. It's not a sudden change, but small daily actions that, over time, build a meaningful life. Life challenges us in many ways. Work, obligations, and external pressures, even moments of crisis, can make us doubt what truly matters. But when we have a clear purpose, we become more resilient. Obstacles are no longer insurmountable barriers, but tests that allow us to grow. When you wake up, ask yourself, what is my purpose today? What can I do to get closer to it? Even in the simplest tasks, there is an opportunity to act with intention. A small act of kindness, a wise word, or even a simple act of self-care can align your life with your greater purpose. The challenge is to feed this purpose constantly. If you lose focus, don't be too hard on yourself. Simply get back on track. Stoicism teaches us that true strength doesn't lie in never failing, but in knowing how to rise again and continue. Every mistake is a chance to learn, every difficulty an opportunity to reaffirm your mission. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or complicated. It can be about seeking balance, improving in something specific, helping others, or growing inwardly. What matters is that it is authentic and reflects your truest values. When you live according to your purpose, you feel peace and fulfillment. It doesn't matter what others expect because your life is being guided by something stronger and deeper. That is what gives life meaning. It's not about status or wealth, but about being true to yourself and acting with virtue. At the end of the day, reflect. Did I live according to my purpose today? How can I improve tomorrow? This constant practice of reflection keeps the purpose alive and the life aligned with what truly matters. The important thing is not to lose sight of what you truly want and to be consistent in your actions. Living with purpose transforms life. It gives direction, clarity, and the strength to face any difficulty. If you haven't defined your purpose yet, start now. Think about what truly matters to you and put your energy into it. The path won't be easy, but the reward will be an authentic and fulfilling life, guided by something greater. The power of a defined purpose is incomparable. It gives meaning to everything you do. So define yours, feed it with vigor, and watch your life transform in ways you never imagined. Every step taken with purpose brings you closer to a life of true fulfillment. 8. Value the effort, not just the result. In a world where success is measured by visible outcomes, the relentless pursuit of external achievements often makes us forget something essential. The true value of our actions is not in the end, but in the daily effort. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in persisting and continuing, no matter how long or arduous the journey may be. Imagine a sculptor working tirelessly on a statue. In the beginning, the raw stone seems impossible to shape, and perhaps many doubt his skill. But with every hammer strike, the figure becomes clearer, more defined. The sculptor doesn't work just to see the finished statue. He values the process of transformation, the daily effort, the patience, and the dedication required for each movement to be precise and effective. The final result is merely a reflection of the hard work he invested in every detail. It is in the journey that he finds the true value of his effort. So it is with us. We live in a society that adores the final product, the visible success, whether in our careers, relationships, or even in our personal transformations. We constantly pressure ourselves to achieve quick and tangible results. We want to see the end of the journey before we even start. But as Marcus Aurelius teaches us, the true reward is in the process. He wrote, "It is not death that should be feared, but never having begun to live truly." Imagine an athlete who trains every day. If he only cares about the medal on the podium, he might give up halfway through due to frustrations and challenges. But if he values the effort, each training session, every overcoming, each small improvement, he will feel more fulfilled every day, regardless of what the future holds. And that's what Stoicism teaches us. We should not attach ourselves to immediate results, but focus on the action, the discipline, and the learning gained throughout the journey. The true Stoic understands that every effort we make, no matter how small, is a victory in itself. Every time we get up in the morning to work on our goals, every time we face a difficulty with courage and without giving in to frustration, we are creating a legacy of effort. Each of these actions builds our resilience, our ability to endure adversity, and our wisdom. When we focus on the effort, we realize we are in constant evolution. It doesn't matter where we are or how many obstacles we face. The important thing is that we are trying, adjusting our sails whenever necessary, and learning from each failure and success. Just like the sculptor, each of us has the ability to shape our own life, not just waiting for the final work, but valuing the daily process that brings us closer to our goals. I know it can be hard to see the value of effort when results aren't immediate. The world we live in is increasingly impatient and wants everything yesterday. But remember, true Stoicism isn't about avoiding failure or always succeeding. It's about accepting that life is a journey of continuous learning. Every step we take, no matter how small it seems, is a step toward our evolution. So, the next time you are trying to achieve something, take a moment to appreciate the effort you are putting in. Recognize the small victories that come each day, even if they are not visible to others. True change happens within us, in the silent moments of dedication, and not only when the last piece of the statue is placed in place. Don't wait for external validation to know you are on the right path. Effort is your greatest reward. It is the key to personal growth and by valuing it, you will find that success becomes a natural outcome and true satisfaction comes from within. Finally, remember, life is made of moments and actions. And when you value effort, you are living the true Stoic philosophy. That virtue is not in the final result, but in the character we cultivate and the choices we make along the journey. Continue the journey with dedication, keep walking, and with each step, celebrate your evolution. What you achieve at the end of the road isn't as important as who you become while walking. If you value the effort, success will be just a natural consequence. Congratulations for getting this far and investing in your personal growth. The commitment you've shown in learning and applying these teachings is truly admirable. You're on the right path to becoming the best version of yourself, and that deserves to be celebrated with pride. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, take this opportunity to be part of this journey with us. Together, we will explore the power of Stoicism and transform the way we see life. Don't forget to leave a like, as it helps us spread these ideas and inspire more people to seek self-awareness. To let me know you're truly committed to your progress, leave the word evolution in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the points we've discussed in this video. See you in the next one with even more wisdom and inspiration to continue your journey.